Fraternity of experts, right? Fraternity of
Yeah.
experts.
Yeah, we're live. We're live, Steve.
Okay, hey, what's going on, everybody? How's everybody doing? I am your host and moderator, Steve the Dean Williams. Welcome, everybody, to episode 76, the 21 Poland Roundup Show, brought to you by Tactical Soap, guys. Make sure you go to tacticalsoap.com. Also, the Fraternity of Experts. Make sure you check that out. That's also being brought to you by those guys, and as well as October 24th through 27th, the next hot convention that's going on in Orlando. Guys, tickets are on sale right now. You can register. There is an early bird that is going on right now that is 1 day, 12 hours, and 34 minutes away where you can get discounts. With me, as always, we have a great panel of gentlemen here who were in Warsaw, Poland. But make sure you check that out. I'm going to shut up. We're going to go around the room. And but first, let me introduce the man who has 24th brought all this stuff together. The next Anthony hot Dream Johnson. Anthony, you got the mic, sir.
Yo, Steve, you got me?
I got you. Yes, I got you now.
All right. Oh, shit, 1 second. Yeah, we had to, all right. So first of all, good to be here. Fuck yeah. Yeah, there's just a whole new streaming setup we got. YouTube obviously like killed Google Hangouts, so this all looks different to the guys watching online. And that sucks. There's no explanation for it really. And, you know, whatever, fuck it. We got a new thing set up now. So I'm a little bit disoriented with that. But I also just got back to Florida in America on Thursday night. And dude, it's good to be home. Like, I love Poland. I had such a good time. That's an understatement. Like, the convention was fucking epic. The Poland experience itself was like eye-opening and soul-opening to the max. It was just incredible. I was there about 3 weeks, so I was there quite a bit longer than most speakers and stuff. I got there early and left late. And I also spent a lot of time in Krakow, the city that we're doing the next Poland European convention next summer in Europe. And we'll do that. We're going to put tickets out soon, like pre-order. That'll be like summertime again, probably July or August. Pick the final date, as soon as I can. But yeah, it's good to be home. It was a hell of a trip getting home too, man. Holy fuck. It took about 23 hours or something like that, start to finish. So it was, and there was like, dude, my plane had to make like emergency landing and shit. Like, it was fucking, like the third plane, it was fucking crazy, man. But we got to do a lot of filming too in Krakow. We filmed a whole new trailer that's going to come out soon to announce the upcoming event. It's going to be kind of a highlight reel as well of the Warsaw event we just had. And there's so much shit going on, man. I'm so happy to be home and start kicking ass on the upcoming Orlando event. It's time to kick ass, chew bubble gum, and I'm all out of gum.
All right, well, that's awesome. Now we got a round table of guys here. We'll go ahead and start off with Socrates and Richard and roll it all around. Guys, tell them about yourselves. Tell them, well, before we go get into the experience in 1 second, but let's go ahead and let everybody know who's on the panel. Please, guys, take the floor. Tell them a little bit about yourself before we get into the roundup on Warsaw.
You want me to take the lead on this left to right?
Yes, sir.
Fantastic. I'm Socrates from Manning Up Smart, and I help men navigate today's sexual marketplace. I'm a very vocal advocate for fathers and fatherhood. Should probably pass the baton to Rich.
Okay. Richard Nikolai. It was my fourth time to speak at the 21 convention, and I'll get into why it was my favorite. And I'm blog at freetheanimal.com. Longtime friend of Anthony, doing great. He's doing great work. I'm very happy to be here. Noah.
Hi, my name is Noah Ravoy, and I'm a coach, a father, a patriarch. I have 3 sons. 2 of them are going to be born very soon. And I help men and women to figure out what it is that they're going to do with their life when it comes to relationships, and teaching especially men agency. I believe that it's male agency that's going to save the West. And one of the reasons I enjoyed 21 conventions so much is I noticed a massive overlap in what I'm teaching men with what the other speakers were teaching as well, to develop agency and to be an actor in the universe rather than an NPC. And I really appreciate it. It's my first time I was able to speak at a 21 con, and it was fantastic, way more than what I was expecting.
Absolutely. Well, let's talk about Poland, man. Guys, if you never get a chance to go to Warsaw, this was my first time. It was a very amazing trip. And it was, guys, I tell you, Anthony has put together what you call a dream team of great speakers. It was a great time, a great community. It was just Anthony. Anthony, I don't know. I'm trying to figure out which one was better between this and Orlando. I mean, they both were great, but this was like refreshing. It was like people were the men behaved a little bit different. The women were a little bit different. What is your take on that, Anthony?
Yeah, it was a special event, man. I mean, like I said in my speech, it was the most difficult we'd ever, out of 17 total, that was the 17th convention we put on. That was by far the most difficult for me for several different reasons. European events or international events always tend to be like that. We've done the event in Australia, which is also very difficult. We've done Europe 3 times before Poland. So that wasn't surprising in some ways, but I fucking love it, man. That country, there's something about it. It reminds me in some ways of America in terms of like the very deep, long-running fighting spirit, this defiant attitude. And that's cost them big. We see that now. We experience that being there, I think. That's why it's actually so positive. But they've also paid dearly for that in the past. Uprisings and things like that against Nazis and Soviets and shit, causing all kinds of trouble. But that's the kind of trouble you want to cause, even if it ends up being that tragic in some ways. So it's something very powerful, I think, in the soul of those people in that country, in that part of the world. And that's what 21 Convention has too. I think it's a very, it's a calling. I think Bobby Dino in our chat the other day was talking about that. And I think you said that too, Steve. It's a very deep experience for everybody, for the attendees, for the speakers, for the volunteers, for the staff. It's fucking powerful shit. And that's just it's what it's got to be, man. That's why 21 is tip of the spear for the manosphere. These events are the premier offline manosphere in the world, for men coming together with the interests of other men in mind, as well as themselves. And that can be from fathers, like you saw, Steve, at the Patriarch event, and it could be for European men or for American men or all kinds of men from around the world. That no matter what their goal is or what they're looking at, what the challenges are, they come together and they find like very serious common ground. And it's sharp as shit too, man. I know Richard Grannon, one of our speakers that was at the Poland event, he was surprised not only with the caliber of speakers in the event, but also the attendees, the guys who showed up and made it to the event, the guys who busted ass and got off their ass and bought a flight across the world or across Europe or whatever they did. It was pretty mixed, actually. There was a lot of American guys there I saw from the previous event, which was pretty cool. It was like 8 or 9 alumni or something like that. So yeah, it's just a fucking awesome place, man. Plenty of snow bunnies, beautiful women, amazing food. We ended up going to the strip club, and I had heard that you didn't get to go to the strip club with all the snow bunnies. No. I was really sad for you, man. I was like, shit, dude. I even found a Christmas tree for you. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, man. Yeah, let me see, man. I missed the snow bunnies, man. I wanted to go, but I don't know. I was hoping Pat would just change his mind and say, all right, I'm going. But
yeah,
I had a chance to ride the little.
So Pat told me, he's like, yeah, I didn't know if it was appropriate because he was a speaker. I was like, are you kidding me? It's Steve. Of course it's appropriate. More than appropriate. I was like, absolutely bring him to the strip club. Yeah. But Poland's just an amazing place, man. And I'm really, people kept asking me like why I chose Poland rather than some like mainstream kind of country we could go do again. We've already done London before, so I don't need to go back there. Plus it's a fucking shithole now. And, ready to Sweden, that's obviously a feminist shithole. So I wanted to go somewhere positive that would embrace what we're doing. And I think that's part of what we felt in Poland. It's a place that we had zero problems with all the people and the personnel and the hotels and all that shit. Local staff, people helping out, attendees that showed up, volunteers. It's a country that very much wants a manosphere presence and impact in it because they're seeing ahead. They see a little bit of feminism in their culture. They have very little, but they have some, and they don't like that shit and other shit around it, So I think it's a welcoming place for us for the manosphere and for 21 Convention. And that's why that was part of the reason why it was such a great event and it was so special.
Yes, sir. Socrates, you were my historian the whole time. You're my history buff, Socrates. You were just talk. I mean, Socrates, when I met you in Orlando, you were full of life. But when you got out to Warsaw, man, it was like you was like a whole new, you was like refreshing. It was like, you just were just full of history and full of knowledge. And just, I know you traveled, you checked things out. Soc, what was your take on Poland, sir?
Jesus, I'm actually going to do a series of video postcards just to kind of get a snippet of that and share it. But to be really honest, the location and host city truly was instrumental in kind of reflecting the status of the manosphere today. As it itself
it was like a whole new, it was like
actually
refreshing.
matures.
It was like,
Poland
you just
has
were just
a very
full of
deep
history and full of knowledge. And
within
just,
Western
I know you
civilization.
traveled, you checked things out. What was your take
values,
on Poland?
but also more importantly, the location of the series of video postcards. Just kind of get a snippet of that and share it. But to be really honest, the location and host city predominantly truly was instrumental in kind of reflecting the status of the manosphere today. Very, very as it itself.
It was like a whole new, it was like refreshing. It was like,
Poland has
we're just
a very
full of
deep
history and full of knowledge.
With the Western of the World War II. And primarily, not only did it get bombed by the Germans during the invasions, but the occupation and then also the Russian countering, the resistance movement, and how harshly that was handled. And you talk about almost 200,000 people being exterminated through that course. You also have the emptying of the wall.
It was like a whole new, it was like refreshing. It was like,
Poland has
we're just full of history and full of knowledge.
Within Western civilization, and essentially before the war, and primarily, not only did it get bombed by the Germans during the invasions, but the occupation with the Russian adverse living conditions, resistance movement, and how harshly that was depopulated and then brought down to the level. You talk about almost 200,000 people. Hitler actually ordered that course. You also have the emptying of so you have
Poland has a whole new, like refreshing. It was like,
Poland has
history and full of knowledge.
Essentially before the war, and primarily, not only did it get bombed by the Germans during the invasion, but the occupation with the Russian adverse living conditions, resistance movement, how harshly that was depopulated and then brought down and built. You talk about almost 200,000. And then Hitler actually ordered that course. You also have the empty still in the essentially before the war, primarily, not only did it get bombed by the Germans during the invasion, but the occupation with the Russian adverse living conditions, resistance movement, how harshly that was depopulated and then brought down and built. You talk about almost 200,000. And resurrection Hitler actually ordered that course. You also have the empty still in not only did it get bombed by the Germans during the invasion, but the occupation with the Russian adverse living conditions, movement, how harshly that was depopulated and then brought down and built. You talk about almost 200,000. And resurrection Hitler actually ordered that course. You also have the empty still in
So that was nice. The other thing that was really fantastic was the venue chose for this area. I mean, I'm telling you that I don't think I have never been anywhere. I was there for 5 nights. My interactions with the staff of that hotel, no matter where, and so that was nice. The other thing was the girls checking you in for the morning breakfast menus. Unbelievable area. I mean, I'm telling you that I it's the kind of thing you would see at a Sunday brunch. It costs $36 an whatever it was, on Friday in the morning, took off. Otherwise, I was there for every single presentation. And that's unusual because I had a guy who was trying to get a cab previous time. A guy out front was no cab payment. You know, he shows up interest now, but non-manager stuff. And I had to stand because I participate and bring it back to manager issues like talk was, history was, cancer, feminism, and otherwise.
Change who you are. You can, but you can never be a part of all of the other things that happen in the event, the hallway conversations, the workshops. You didn't show up, you'll never get that. Fortunately, it's going to happen again in Orlando and you can show up there. But you miss out on 80% of the value when you're not at the event. You know, I'm working in an industry that's part of the manosphere, so I'm coaching men a lot. And even when I'm coaching women, I'm helping them with, you know, figure out how to have relationships with men. So I need to be in the place where the manosphere is gestating, where the center of it is. And I would say 21 Conventions is the center of the physical manosphere right now. If you are at all involved in an industry that's catering to men's needs, you need to show up at 21 Conventions. Otherwise, you're missing out on the most important events that are happening that are involving men.
Yeah, you know, you're absolutely right. And guys, if y'all want to check that out, it's going to be October 24th through the 27th in Orlando. From the organization, from what Anthony has done with Pat, the speakers, and like you guys were saying, it came down to like Richard was saying, when you went to breakfast in the morning in the M Club, they just greeted you with a smile. Can I help you? Can I serve you? Do you want more food? Do you need this? Do you need that? It was that everywhere. Now for me, I was like I think I was the fourth or fifth black person I saw in there, which was okay. It's kind of shocking, but I mean, it was cool. I liked it. And another thing, some of the things that you were talking about as far as what people are missing, I think what they don't understand is that, yes, you can wait to watch the videos and all that later. But like you were saying, Noah, there is something really special when you can sit and you can rub elbows with Socrates and you can rub elbows with Anthony and all the other speakers out there. And one thing that I think is new, Anthony, correct me if I'm wrong, is the workshops. Let me tell you guys something. When the doors and lights are off and the cameras are shut off and you are in a room and you get to talk to some of the guys in there, it is bar none something you can't miss. And a lot of you guys have missed on those workshops and things like that. But Anthony, I'm going to throw it back to you because Anthony, this was Warsaw on your calendar as far as, okay, we're just going to go to Warsaw next, or was this something that you had planned months before, sir?
Yeah, I'd planned it for a while. Does my audio come through good?
Yeah, I got you.
Cool. Yeah, I was working a whole bunch of audio shit. Now I got it all fixed up for the guys watching. So yeah, I mean, I've been planning Poland since 2018, and you even see that in my keynote address. I mentioned I have a whole map of it. Poland, 2019. I would do America and Poland. The Patriarch event was the only event that came about a lot faster. I had realized that I wanted to do that event thanks to Hunter Drew mentioning it to me and various other factors, and we did that event, and I was able to fit it in the schedule. But Poland, I've been planning for a while. I wanted to go back to Europe. We had not been there since 2012. We did events in Europe in 2010, 2011, and 2012. And I eventually just settled on Poland. And I mean, I'll put this as bluntly as I can. In a way, it was initially kind of a gut instinct. It wasn't until I looked more and more and more into it and got more and more serious about the planning further along the route to putting together the event that I realized I made a great choice. That intuitively, looking at the map of Europe and looking at the kind of socio-political things going on in Europe right now, as it relates to men, women, the manosphere, and shit way beyond that. Europe has all kinds of shit going on. Poland looked like very fertile ground to do an event. And in the end, it was. We had men come in from all over the place and came out very good. And I think it was really destined to be there. That's Socrates, has discussed and investigated himself through 1,000 museum tours in Warsaw. It's a city with a lot of history and a lot of fighting. And in the end, that's what Poland to me was about on a very personal level as the founder and the organizer of the event. It was a fight. It was a fight for my life. And it was a shit ton of fun. And it's made me grow as a man. Coming back to America, spending more time in Krakow, the other major city in Poland that we're going to do the next event at for Poland next summer. Between my experiences there, a lot of shit went on down there. And then coming back to America, I feel like a new man. I feel like I've been reborn and my soul has been forged in yet another fire. And it's the kind of fire that I look for in life. It's a fire to challenge myself to be the best man I can be. Exactly like we want to teach these guys, right? With tools and education and knowledge and things like that and advice. And for me, though, it's a different path sometimes. And for me, that path looks like fights for the manosphere, fights for my company, fights for my own values, my own heart, my own soul, and what I want to pursue, my dreams in my life. I have the name Dream that I'm known for in the manosphere. And there's a lot of reasons for that. And Socrates is one of the men who's taught me that too. But that name has meaning because I chose it, and I chose it for a damn good reason. And Poland is the latest expression of that. And I think it's really set up the company too in the event this year for success in Orlando. Later this year, the final event of 2019. We have now the success of 2 completed events this year out of 3, 1 more to go. And that event's going to be, I think, very, very, very big and very massive. The speaking lineup is massive. We have the most attendees for it out of all 3 events so far. We still have about 3 months to go, 2 months and like 3 weeks or something like that. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to a huge event that's even bigger and better than the previous 2 events we just did. And I'm looking forward to just blasting out more content. We're actually now we have time too. Like after Patriarch, we put out some videos, obviously, right? Speeches and things like that, interviews, the reports. But now we have a good window of time between now and the Orlando event to really crank out a shit ton of content. And that's what we're going to do. So before the Orlando event, not only are we going to promote the event, talk about it, all these things, and do, RedMan group shows, we're also going to do like an editing, carpet bombing, and publication. And we're going to get a lot of speeches from 2018, from 2019 Patriarch, and 2019 Poland. Interviews, podcasts, RedMan groups, speeches, all kinds of shit. And really increase the volume that compared to what people are used to on 21 Studios with this content. It's a gold mine of content that we're sitting on, both in terms of like value for the organization and value to our audience and the guys who want to learn and become the best men they can be in the world.
Yeah, absolutely. Socrates, I'm gonna go to you next, Socrates, because again, you're my guy, my historian. But Soc, what was your experience? Did you? I mean, you had the speakers. I mean, I haven't even spoke about the dinners. You know what? Noah said it right. If you think what you saw on videos, anything, y'all, just the camaraderie, sitting at the dinner tables with men, talking with kings, and Socrates. I don't want to just talk about. Let's talk about that.
You focus on the meals. Yeah. The interesting thing is that we talk about the value of the convention, and Noah nails it on the head. Absolutely right. The talks seem to be like 20% of the value, and 80% is in the hallways. It's afterwards. It's sharing meals, and I think there's a very real human connection about when you break bread together, sharing the ideas. Or George Bruno kind of brought up a statement that his first impact with me was something I said, that something along the lines that when a woman makes you a sandwich, she feeds your belly, but ultimately it feeds your soul. And that very much resonates when we have meals together, when we choose to come together as individuals and share ideas and nourish our bodies and souls in camaraderie. And of course, that would be kind of very underplayed with what ends up happening at the conventions and the dinners. The meals are exquisite. The venues are incredible. I took a picture of just the empty setting because we were one of the first to arrive. And, when you sit down and say we're hosting in a 5-star hotel resort a dinner for 22 people or so, that's not a small affair. And when you get that number of people together, there's going to be energy and impact. And you're talking about content creators, people who haven't seen each other. I'm like seeing the guys today. It's, I haven't seen these guys in 2 weeks, and we're in Poland the last time. It brings you back. And so that there's something that happens there when you start sharing these ideas and eating and having drinks and just carrying on. Jan ended up doing something because he wanted to get back to the group, and he's a professional opera singer. And here he goes and does, a song live in a restaurant, and the restaurant came to a stop. And everybody, couldn't believe it. They're cheering, and of course it was interesting. The people that are actually having dinner there were asking what's going on in the other room. And that was kind of something that was constantly happening throughout the venue, not only for the dinner, but for the event itself, is what's bringing these people together. Why are they there? Why are the bunch of Americans kind of in Poland, and what's bringing all the Europeans to Poland for a particular reason, and being able to share that and hear that resonating back with them. But the meals were absolutely outstanding. There were, 4 or 5 hour events. They just kept going and going and laughing. And, I'll release some of the footage of it if I haven't already. And it's just, it brings it out. I mean, you got involved, you end up having Ivan doing some, renditions, and for a deaf man to actually, sing. And it was a way to actually also showcase with the guys. A couple of guys actually brought some significant others and partners, and to see, Ivan's wife interacting with him during that whole event was something that you're not going to see at other manosphere events, other men's rights events where women aren't necessarily welcome, but they're partners, and you get to see that live interaction and to see how genuine that is. And that's what we're aiming for. And we're showcasing by example. And that was all done during the meal. And I say a meal, it was actually a festivity of events that culminated. If anything, if you sat down and said, God, if you want to hit something, that would have been it, particularly that dinner. Of course, we had a follow-up one at the Red Hog, which is a historical context, very much so. And again, another 24, 30 guys. Actually, I want to say it was 34 guys on that one. It was a larger event. And just the roaring conversations was absolutely uplifting to the spirit and soul.
Absolutely. Richard, what is your take on that, sir?
Well, I'll echo what Socrates said. I intended to say that I've never been to an event that had like a social event every evening. Was there 4, or was there the last evening was whoever wants to go to the restaurant. And I was flying out in the morning, so I skipped that one. But everything else I was, and the only problem with the presenters dinner is I had to sit by Socrates. Otherwise, it was really great. No, in fact, I caught him and Ivan in a great photo with Socrates laughing and Ivan with kind of a serious look on his face, and I ended up making some memes out of it, poking fun at some of the girls in the manosphere. In fact, I'm looking at the YouTube, and I note, when it first even started, there was already like 4 downvotes of the thing. I mean, this is girls, girls, girls. Understand that men argue or discuss with facts and reason. Women with approval or disapproval. So what are we now? We're up to 12 disapproving girls on YouTube. And if they're so disapproving, why are they spending their time watching this? I mean, that is chick behavior extraordinaire. Bunch of chicks, bunch of pussies, fuckers. Jesus Christ. Go get a fucking life. Piss.
Dang, angry dick. Your mom called you angry dick, right, Richard?
Yeah. Well, no, it wasn't. She hates that nickname. But,
sorry.
I got that nickname at some points, starting in 2008 when I was doing the paleo blogging, and every once in a while I resurrect him. The food was excellent. That dinner was excellent. And another thing I wanted to point out about it was such a pleasure to me. And I'm pissed off that he isn't with us right now. But I'd never met George Bruno before. But however, I had seen him do some interviews, and I was like, man, I hope George is there. I want to be interviewed by George. That guy is a good interviewer. And I tell you, I enjoyed the company of virtually everybody there, and I was absolutely thrilled to talk with so many people. I was thrilled also to meet Noah. Noah and I have been friends, I suppose, for 6 or 8 months or so, and I've interviewed him a couple of times on freetheanimal.com, or actually I interviewed him on his blog snv4k.com, and then I interviewed him on mine. And so I enjoyed that. It was nice to reconnect with Socrates and of course Anthony, who and I go way back. But George was a special treat, and man, he was able to arrange to have a girlfriend there too, and she was a Polish girl, and she was just a delight to be around. And I was so surprised that she sat through so many of the presentations and the interviews, and it's designed for men, a men's audience. I would, if I had a mixed room or a room full of women, my presentation would have been designed a little bit differently. But yet I kept glancing at her while I'm speaking, and I'm like trying to catch a sign of whether anything was offending her. Not that I was going to change. I just wanted that feedback. But that was it was just a great time, and the social events were fantastic. That sports bar where we had the all and everybody in one. I had to sit by Socrates again, but all right, now I'm done. Noah.
Yeah, it's, a lot of times there's a lot of, in the manosphere, there's a lot of people who are kind of just cycling. They're not really going anywhere. I need some help with this. I need some help with that. And they read, they watch lots of videos, they take in lots of information, and then they don't do anything with it. It's pretty much normal in all self-help type of.
No, we call them, in the manosphere, we call them dabblers. They're always dabbling with stuff, never doing anything significant.
Yeah, exactly. And it's a huge problem because it brings other people down as well. They will start people will set their expectations based on some sort of medium of the group, and it brings the group down. When you go to an event like 21 Conventions, you don't walk away with it going, oh, there's a bunch of things I won't do. You walk away with it going, holy shit, I'm like, I want to be like these men. I mean, I felt like that. I was a speaker, but I sat there on every presentation taking notes because I'm like, hey, there's a bunch of gold here, man. I'm going to go home and apply that. I got the notes sitting here, and I'm going through the notes afterwards, thinking about things I can directly apply in my life. The reason that people dabble and don't do anything with their knowledge is because there's nothing in the heart going on. It's all mechanical. You're looking at a machine, you're seeing a reproduction of a human being, and you're not actually getting anything going on in your heart. You get together with other men, there's the back slapping, the handshaking, there's the sharing of food, and it touches your heart. And the heart is the motivation. The heart is the seed of motivation. And if you're stuck in your life, you're not going to get unstuck by watching YouTube videos. You're going to get unstuck by getting together with other men who have momentum in their life and figuring out how you can run with them. You gotta invest. What it is, a dabbler is they're low investment. They don't want to invest anything. They don't want to get out of their house. They don't want to travel. They don't want to.
They don't want to risk anything, basically.
Yeah. Well, you know, there's a risk. You go. I was thinking of this before I go there. I'm going to go there. I'm going to hang out with these guys. Am I going to be the odd guy out? I don't know them. They kind of know each other. I think one of the only first time speakers. How am I going to fit in with them? And I got there, and it was so welcoming, and everyone was so warm and enthusiastic and intense. And for a lot of men, we just don't experience that normally. Yeah. You know, the world's hostile to us, especially if you're a masculine man. Like if you're a beaten down slave man, you're allowed. If you're a eunuch, you're allowed to be around the women without a lot of complaints. But if you're a completely intact male, it's difficult. And this is a place you go and you come back. Like I said, I've been feeling high for weeks since I got back. My entire mission in life was reinforced. And if you're a man and you're stuck, hey, Orlando's coming up.
Fuck
Get
yeah.
your pennies together.
No, I wanted to say too, I think you might have talked about it earlier, but I was busy just managing all this audio shit. So you are one of the few first-time speakers at that event. There was like you, John Cooper, Krauser, Richard Grannon. I think it's about it though. Just a handful of you. So you might have mentioned this earlier in the show, but I definitely missed it for now. But what was it like being there for your first time ever? Because Steve's been there before. Obviously, I have Socrates and Richard Nicolai many, many times. But for you, this is like brand new, walking in the door, meeting all these guys, seeing the event. What did you think from that specific perspective as like a new speaker versus the alumni who've seen it before?
I think as a new speaker, I mean, there's the mechanical parts. You guys are really well organized. Things start on time, they end on time. The speakers were very respectful of schedules and timing, as well as the participants. And there was a reverential atmosphere that I really liked. It kind of reminded me not of school, but almost more like going to church.
Wow.
And you were listening. No, seriously. But
I believe it. I believe it. Yeah. I got it.
Listening to someone telling you that this is one of the paths to success, because not everyone there had the exact same idea of how to progress in the future. They all had great ideas that would work for different groups of men, but someone was coming there with presence, with gravitas, with I especially saw that gravitas in George Bruno's speech. You know, he has that deep calming presence, and you walk away from that a changed man. Like I said, if you're involved anything in the manosphere in your business, you got to show up. And if you can, talk to Anthony, say, hey, can I speak? And apply, because this is the way forward. I prefer public speaking to any other form of communication with my audience. Yet in the internet age, it's the least likely form of communication that I have. And I really appreciated this opportunity to get to talk to people and get out on a stage and stretch my arms instead of sitting at a chair in front of a camera. It was wonderful.
Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to the videos coming out.
Yeah, man, 100%. Yeah, I got to say, too, I was thinking about something last night that I've listened to you guys talk here on the panel alongside you. I really think that the future of the manosphere is offline. There'll always be a huge online component, obviously, given that the age we live in. But I really think that's what's happening over time. And the seriousness of 21 Convention to organize at that level is not only the tip of the spear, it's needed to advance the manosphere into the future and make it more healthy, more positive, and more hardcore. Interestingly enough.
The hardcore point is important. This is why I say 80% is in the part that you don't get to see in the recordings.
Yeah.
There are conversations, there are uncomfortable truths, there are dangerous realities that we talk about offline that we can't talk about and record it.
Quick.
Yeah.
It's not right now. We talk about it enough offline, and we'll be able to talk about it online eventually. But there are things you will never get if all you go is watch the YouTube videos. You got to show up for the real thing. That's where we tell the forbidden secrets.
Quick interjection. I wanted to emphasize Noah's point about the good organization and so on, and also the uplifting spirit to where it's reminiscent of church. Now, I haven't been in church in years and years, but I do recall that during our Red Man Group panel, there were 2 panels. I don't think they're on YouTube yet, but I was on the first one. And I think Anthony was actually out of the room at that time. And I mentioned that the Brandy's building here is incredible because, it's men. But now we've moved into kind of embracing a patriarchal sort of thing, evidenced by the last conference. And then next spring-ish or so, he's doing the mansplaining event of the year, a conference for women.
Of the century, yes. Sorry.
But I get from that, it's not hard to imagine having conferences for couples, whether they're, significant others or married, conferences for families, and just go right for it and make a 21C church. So instead of 21 convention, it's 21 church. So you can have all the bases they're covered there.
Oh boy.
All right.
Yeah, I hear you, man. I mean, when I hear the word church, I don't have a problem with that. I'm not religious myself. I'm an objectivist, but I do appreciate that religion is a form of philosophy, and everyone needs philosophy, period. Human beings, I think, in the modern sense, have never, ever had a choice. Ayn Rand was famous for saying this too. The only choice you have is what philosophy you're going to have, not whether or not you have one. And I see from the stage, that's what's being preached. It's philosophy, whether it's self-defense or dating relationships or marriage or fatherhood or family or pickup or what the fuck ever. It's a preaching of philosophy from a very important platform. And in that sense, it is like church because it's that serious. I think that's what Noah's kind of tapping into. Oh, did Noah drop out? I think he had to get going at some point, yeah? Oh, yeah, he says he's got to go. Oh, that sucks. Yeah. Noah's great, man. Thanks for finding him, Richard, and pushing him hardcore.
It was my pleasure. And it was like, I knew, that's why I kind of kept painting you. It was like, I knew he was a good fit for this. I just knew. And agency, as he presented it, was something that I think it's just a great addition to this, and I hope to see him many times to come. And I'm glad you. I remember he was talking, and you looked over at me, and you acknowledged, he's good. He's good.
Oh, yeah. He fit right in, man. Yeah, he was so hardcore. Like, he's such an intense dude in real life too. You could see that a little bit through video, but he's just like, when he got on stage, everyone was like, "Holy shit, this guy's like." He just looks like this some dude with glasses. Then he's just like savage as fuck.
Yeah, and every time school was in session, before the events or before the presentations, after the presentations, there's Noah out there networking with as many of the other speakers and attendees as he possibly could.
Yeah.
And I would also, I found it a little bit embarrassing is that months ago, someone suggested, hey, you ought to buy some, he's a coach kind of thing, guy, and they're not expensive. And so I'm like, okay, well, I guess I'll see what it's like. So I've done a few sessions with him, and he's very, very disciplined. So it's not like you get on there and you just BS for an hour. It's like really goal directed. So I know there's a lot of coaches out there. He's not a dating coach. He's more like a relationship. He's looking for both men and women who are interested in serious long-term relationships. So it's not going to be about game or pickup or anything like that. But we need all of these kinds of things because you never know where you are in life. Maybe the pickup is the more appropriate thing for the 18 to 24-year-old guy, and then 25, it's like, hey, have you thought about a long-term relationship, possibly a family, becoming a patriarch, building a legacy for yourself, and so on and so forth. So I think that's the niche Noah fits. So I'm just pleased as hell that he came and that it worked out for him.
No, I agree. And it's a very interesting niche that he's in because I've never seen anyone do what he's doing at this intensity. Like some people will do like relationship coaching and that's what they'll focus on, but it's this wishy-washy, feminist influence bullshit. Whether or not they acknowledge it, it's not this patriarchal, masculine-led agency, high prioritized like he's doing. It's whatever. I got to look more into his stuff. I'm excited to watch the speech and look at his stuff.
I'll tell you, in a session, he tells it like it is, and it is from a man's perspective. But he deals with a lot of women too, and they don't get a pass because they're women. Sure, they can feel about stuff all they want. They can approve or disapprove all they want. But what they're going to hear from him is that that's not necessarily rational and logical. The feelings are the feelings. You feel what you feel. But it's how to direct those in a feminine way or a masculine way. He does both. He helps people men to be more masculine and women to be more feminine, and which is what society needs.
Absolutely. Hey, Steve, I wanted to ask you, man, how was your experience in Poland versus Patriarch? This was your second event, so how was that for you? The differences?
Well, that's the thing, man. It's really hard because it's really hard to say which one was better because listen, he is not paying me for this. Y'all, if anybody knows me, y'all know I'm a straight up asshole and I'm very honest about everything. The reason why I call him A1 is because of not just what he puts together, it's just also the group of men that are a part of this, man. It's Orlando, wow. Elliot, I mean, you had the whole barrage of guys, just very special. It was no different from Poland. It seems like every event is the same, but goes up just another notch. Now, Warsaw was different because, again, Socrates to me made it a little more special because he was the one that gave me more of a history lesson. I didn't know about Warsaw, and when Socrates was telling me about it, it made it a little more special. But even in a little more special, don't get me wrong, Orlando was fucking awesome. It was ridiculous. But I mean, it's just like Noah was saying, Richard saying, Sock saying, you gotta go there. It's not just watching a video. It's rubbing elbows. It's having dinner. It's afterwards. It's the workshops. It's just the meeting of great minds, and you really get to see what's real and what's fake. George and I were talking last night a little bit about this. It's like, you know what? A lot of people can pretend to be certain things on the internet. A lot of people can pretend to be all tough, bold, and brash and all this other stuff. But when you get to see them face to face, you really know what's real and what's not. Richard, 1,000% real. Sock is Sock. Sock, I don't even talk about you. You Sock, you already know, dog. You 100. Anthony, 100. Noah, 100. All the speakers were 100. And the thing that I love the most, the attendees, the guys that went there, they were listening. They were asking questions. They were trying to be a part of this. So it was just so many elements and so many layers to this. It was just mind blowing. I mean, the whole experience from the dinners. I mean, everything, the meetup. I mean, just everything was ridiculous, Anthony. And I just want to let everyone know we did open the lines up, and I'll give the number in a second. But Anthony, hands down, again, I don't know what you have cooking up for Orlando, but I don't know, man. Poland's got you, dog.
I'm always cooking schemes, man. Always scheming. Yeah, I got master plans, man. I just can't stop dreaming.
Well, the only I got one problem. There was one issue: the snow bunnies. But I'm gonna leave that alone. That was on me. That's my fault. That's my fault. But
more snow bunnies, yeah. I'm actually, before we get into calls, if we got some, Richard, I was curious. You saw a lot of the talks of the event, Richard. What was your favorite, or a couple favorites?
I hate to call that. First of all, and I mentioned this in my presentation, in my introduction, is that Socrates, he was first up for day one. I didn't speak till afternoon of day two, and Noah followed me. And but I mentioned in my introduction, because all of the drama, like now we're up to, what are we now? I guess I'm the scorekeeper here. We're up to 30 disapprovals from Chick. So Socrates spent some time speaking to that in the first presentation. I thought it was perfectly appropriate, and it needed to happen right off the bat, and it did. And I had my own comments, which you have to wait for until my presentation comes out public, or I guess on the 21 University site. I'm not quite clear on how Anthony works all this thing. I think it gives time till they process it, then it's up there, and then it's another period of time where it becomes public.
We're going to try to speed up this process massively, though, like a big jump. It'll still take time, obviously, but we're trying to speed it up.
Yeah. I heard about problems from the patriarch in the processing. Favorite other, there's so many to mention. I liked George's. I liked even though, Ivan, he's a little bit challenging to understand, and he fully admits that, but great material. Jack Donovan, and I co-spoke with him at the one a couple of years, the 10-year anniversary, but this is the first time I got to sit and chat with Jack a little bit, and actually we're sitting next to each other on the Red Man Group panel, which I hope will be up soon, because that was a lot of fun doing that panel, except I had to piss so bad in the last half an hour, and I'm like, would you hurry up and close this out and wrap this up, man? So I guess we're amongst men here, so it's okay to say that. But man, and yours, Anthony, of course, Noah's. I just like everybody, and I'll reiterate that this was the times I've spoken before. I caught some of the presentations here and there, on and off, and then I'd be going around doing stuff and sometimes chatting out in the hallway and so on, because I wasn't really involved in the manosphere per se. Pickup, I'm kind of like George in that way. I'm 58, so pickup, it's just kind of not. It makes me look kind of creepy or something like that, I guess. Even though
I think you got game, Richard. That's what matters.
Even though I've dabbled in it a little bit here and there, and it's Grannon, right? The site guy from. Oh, what a Anthony shot some glances at one another at a point. I'll wait till the presentation comes out. But he's a guy, you can call him a pervert, and he says, "Yep, that's me." So anyway, he's a lot of fun. Who is the other guy? I forget his name. He's the guy from London.
John Cooper.
Yeah, John Cooper. Yeah, I adored his presentation, and I spoke to him afterwards, and I said, you could retitle your presentation "How to Meet People," because he made it. it's kind of like every guy psych themselves out because it's like, oh, I got to meet this woman or this hot chick, right? And I'm like, well, do you have trouble talking to a hot chick who's, checking out your groceries or making your Starbucks or whatever? No, you just go up and conduct business. Do you have any problem going up and chatting to a guy? You notice something, and so you can just strike up a conversation. And so it really, when you get off of that kind of, and that's what this presentation meant to me, is that it's like, it's really meeting people. And instead of approaching it as, what am I going to get from this, to, what can I give? What can I extend? What can I give? And it just smooths the wheels. And I noticed I've been doing that up here in the mountains. I try to go out and I try to strike up conversations with strangers. I don't care whether they're men or women or young or old or ugly or beautiful or thin or fat. I just talk to people. And when you develop this ability to just go up and start talking to people, then it's just like, it's not like, oh, it's the hot chick anymore. It's another person. And, oh yeah, she's hot. And maybe it takes the pressure off and it works better. Okay. So I hope that, I wish I could mention everybody's presentation. Really do. I really do. And it's the first time where I saw every single presentation. I didn't do the workshops, but I did all of the presentations.
Fuck yeah. Sock, what about you and Steve? You guys have some favorite presentations? Both of you saw a lot of them.
I saw a lot. I hate to say it, this is probably the least number of presentations I saw for a number of reasons, but I did see probably more than 80% of them, and I'm kicking myself for the ones I didn't. What impressed me most was not the individual speeches. And like Richard was saying, you could just sort of go on and on about the qualitative nature of it, but was actually able to talk to a lot of the attendees about a particular speaker where they had seen a speech that they didn't know somebody and were exposed to an idea or content that they impacted them in a way that they hadn't anticipated, and being able to have those discussions and be able to talk about it, and then actually to bring them back to the speaker and actually introduce them, and carry that conversation on. And, both Richard and Steve, both on multiple occasions, I've had conversations with the attendees about their talk, about them for various reasons, and that they were always terribly impressed by it. Not only the calibration of the talk and the quality of it, but of the man in themselves. And that speaks volumes. When you sit down and say, hey, not only did they say something that wise and struck me, but their presence as a man and an individual resonated with me as well. And Noah in particular also, as a first-time speaker, my God, does he get it, and talk about an asset to the organization and the culture and feeding right into it. I know he had, concerns about coming in, being the new guy, but he absolutely carried himself like a veteran and has the exposure, quote, like you say, the meat world. And, we had a lot of meat. It was, Poland served up nothing but steak and sizzle and more steak and more fucking sizzle. It was absolutely fantastic. I felt like a carnivore on a paleo diet going amok. It was just an absolute feast of the minds of people and camaraderie.
Yeah, for me, I was thinking a lot about the attendees, and I made sure I stayed in. I saw all the speeches. I enjoyed all of them, but what I enjoyed the most was really after the speeches when the lights went off and they walked off the stage. The attendees were allowed to walk up. Some places they would say, okay, well, the lights go off and you whisk them away, and you don't see them for a while. Well, as soon as the lights went off and they came off the stage, the attendees would get up out of their seats, walk over to them and ask questions, rub elbows and talk. And it just wasn't with the speeches. It was also outside. It was, like I say, at dinner. So to me, that was the thing, because I sometimes if you're an attendee and you're going, you might be a little nervous, but it seemed like everybody there, as far as the speakers, treated the attendees not like attendees, but like just guests or like family. It was more of a come on up, you can talk to me. I'm on YouTube, so what? But I'm a regular guy like you. What's wrong? Let's talk. And you would see them come down and there was a group of guys just circling them, and they would spend the time and talk to every individual person. When they talked to one walk off, he got his information. And they would wait until the last person, and then they go. And it was, or when we started the next one. But usually we had breaks and things like that. But to me, that's what I liked the most. But the speeches were great, but it was just the connection that we all had with the attendees when the lights went out, they were able just to walk up, talk, and ask questions that will benefit them, not the whole entire audience, but they have more personal questions that they were asked, Anthony.
Steve, I think you got the first place or the award for the most laughs for sure. I was busting a gut, man.
Yeah, me, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I know you mean yeah, Jesus. I think I've talked before when George Bruno interviewed me a couple times, and I've said that one of my secrets to making the convention such a magical experience, it really is that good. It's fucking crazy how good it is, right? And because I've done it so many times, I've worked my ass off on it 17 times now in a row, 13 years. But one of the secrets to doing that and succeeding with that experience is treating these men like family, exactly like you're saying. Steve, is exactly how I want it to be. I want them to feel like that. And family is really it's not literal blood family, but it is like a tribe. And to me, that's what that word means in this context, family. It's a tribe. It's a real tribe. It's an offline manosphere tribe, and it's the best one there is in the world. And we attract, therefore, and through that, the best guys. We repel these little losers, these little effeminate weaklings, these codependent narcissists, and in turn, we attract like the best, the cream of the crop, with speakers and attendees both, which in total make the sum of the experience up. I look at the attendees actually as part of the product itself, which is kind of fucked up, I guess, but I believe it. The guys we have in that room, whether they're working, volunteering, speaking, or just attending, it's a totality of the experience and how that event's going to be remembered for history. Whether it's over the next 5 years or the next 50 or whatever, that to me matters. And it actually shows up in the videos, I think, because that influences everybody's mental state and emotional state when they speak. And they ask questions, and they're on audio, and the speaker's on camera, and the camera guys are working. And what's the quality of their level of work? You know, it should be 100%, but can I get it even above and beyond that? Because there's so much positivity and raw, genuine, hardcore stuff going on at the event. So I'm looking at everything like a total Steve Jobs maniac, is how I view myself with it. And I do my best, and it comes out pretty damn good. In large part, thanks to you guys showing up and kicking ass speaking, doing workshops and all kinds of things. The workshops are really fun too. That was the second time we got to do those, and I thought they went really well, a little bit better this time than at Patriarch when they were brand new. I know Jack Donovan's, I think, went really well, and Richard Grandin's went super well. But there was a bunch of them. I don't know how many there were total. We got to check, probably like 10 or something like that. And it was fucking awesome. I know, Steve, I think you did one. Richard didn't do one. Did Sock do one? I think Sock might have done it. Yeah, you did one with somebody, yeah. Yeah, but Grandin's really stood out, I think. His was packed as shit. And then, yeah, Jack Donovan's is really good. Jack Donovan's is powerful, like Noah was saying earlier. I think it's like offline stuff, off-camera stuff. And Jack Donovan was getting savage as fuck in his workshop. Shit I knew he would never say on camera, on Instagram or Facebook or YouTube or anything like that. But he was telling these guys exactly what they wanted to know, which is like the real raw truth behind any kind of censorship or, self-censoring when you're on the internet to, not get banned or something like that. So it was really cool. It was beyond cool. I mean, fucking loved it. And it's preparation too now for Orlando. So one more notch in my belt, so to speak.
Maybe I should have listened to that since I woke up to my 17th 30-day Facebook ban this morning. So
yeah, yep. Steve, do we have any calls to bump to?
No call, sir.
Yeah. I think the new streaming thing is kind of weird for the channel. I got to figure out how to do this better next time. But yeah, we can wrap up, man. We don't got to go on for all day on this. I'm gonna edit to the video together, and I'll put the audio, clean it up and stuff. Well, yeah, like a good 10 minutes that we're kind of fucked up.
Yeah, but I just want to say this to those that are listening, and those that's going to listen to all this. The thing about being a man, and this is just a point right here. Google Hangouts shut down, and we had to find another thing. That's what men do. They are solution based. Now, if we were on the other side of the tracks, Anthony would be sitting in his on Socrates' shoulder crying that Google Hangouts is not working and everything is wrong, and Socrates would be rubbing his head and all the other bullshit. But no, as men, we find solutions. Things are always going to change, and this is a case in point. Just even in the change, it's not going to be perfect all the time, but those are what we call making the proper adjustments. So what you're seeing right now is something that's just happening, guys. You know, the audio was kind of off a little bit, but you know what? We found a way to keep the show and the ship moving forward. So, you know what, Anthony, good look on that, brother.
Thanks, man. Fuck yeah. Oh, wait. Yeah, I'm not. All right, yeah. It's looking used to Zoom, too. I was like, is it muted? Is it not muted? Yeah. And I'm excited, man. I know Redman Group is a bright future. 21 is a bright future. These two companies now working together to do all these things is fucking awesome. There's a couple new things in the pipeline for RMG we're going to do, new sponsorships, things like that. Obviously, we have so many shows now. You're doing a couple of them yourself, Steve. Sam, it's looking solid as fuck. And going to bring on a lot of new talent, too. A lot of talent, and we'll get it kind of prepped for the Orlando event, bringing all these speakers we can have between now and October.
Okay, wonderful. So what I'd like to do is Socrates and Richard, we'd like to go around the round room and you too, Anthony. Let's go around the room and let's find out what you're doing, what you have going on for yourselves, just to keep everybody informed. Socrates?
You know, I came back from Poland, hitting the ground running, probably got acclimated, and then had to bounce into work immediately. But what I'm looking at is literally, you know, we're shy of 3 months out to the next convention. So that's a big X that I'm focusing in on. I've got a small project where I'm trying to actually encapsulate some of my experiences with Warsaw, Poland. I think they were that profound, and I kind of want to share that. So I'm doing a video series, kind of postcard-esque. 2-minute videos of a concept about Poland and some of my thoughts about culture and the manosphere, and kind of doing that. And then obviously we're looking at just a wide variety of stuff to produce on the videos for my particular book on called The Map, Navigating Today's Sexual Marketplace. So it's going to be a lot of stuff doing, and then of course I've got my family and, kind of that whole household element. So, the ball just keeps moving. But I want to kind of resonate on something that Noah talks about, that the convention itself right now, and he nails it, that the 21 convention really is the center of the manosphere. It's where a lot of things are happening, a lot of the content's coming, but it's where it's all gravitating to. And it's one thing to sit down and see the videos, you can witness it, but if you go to the event, you're going to be a part of it. And there's something to be completely said about being involved, at being in the center, meeting, greeting, and saying we talk about being the Woodstock of the manosphere. How many people actually went to Woodstock? You have that moment in time on a repeated element every time we host an event like this with the 21 convention to be a part of that. It's not a singularity, and I would recommend that everybody go at least once. It is that powerful. Don't let that moment in time pass you by. You'll regret it.
Okay, Richard, what do you have, my friend?
Yeah. Let me echo the last thing Sock said, and that is come show up, right? Just do it. And really enjoy it. I'd like to meet some of you, even all you down voters, But once you do the credit card charge, keep it going this time, girls. Other than that, what do we do? Well, I'm a longtime blogger at freetheanimal.com, all one word, since 2003. I'm coming up on 5,000 posts now. Tens and hundreds of thousands of comments. And that's what I've been doing. I've slowed down in the last year, but basically everything I do or every initiative I take gets put on there in some fashion or another. And I'm also on Facebook, facebook.com/Richard Nicolai. The last name is spelled Nikoley. There's no C in it. So that's how to find what I'm doing. Now, in terms of life, I had some plans that I was going to do. I'm currently in the process of trying to sell my house up here in the Sierras. And once I do, there were some plans. But then I go to Warsaw and I have almost a week in this intellectual level, intellectual thing on many levels, where I have to get my head in gear to speak, and then I'm listening to other speakers, and I'm networking and talking with these guys, and it's an intellectual experience. It's a cultural experience too, because of it being in Warsaw. And then I go from there to southern Spain, and I trek around with an old buddy at altitude and a heat wave with a pack on, and that was pretty life-changing. And frankly, it made me reflect about what I want to do, perhaps instead of the other plans I had. I'm not going to blab about it all yet. I'm still like chewing it out. But you can, starting like today or tomorrow, I'm going to kick off a blog series on the trekking experience, and I'm going to integrate a lot into that. And it's not going to be like a travel guide, like here's the hotels, and here's the food, and it's $1, $2, or $3, or $1 $2. It's not how I write. So it's going to be a lot of photos that I took, a lot of the self-reflection, a lot of just describing how fucking hard it was for a guy who hasn't done much hiking in a couple of years, and with a pack, carrying a pack this time. And so I'm going to be doing that, and it might give you some clues about what some of my future plans are. There you go. Thanks, Anthony. And Steve, this is great. And, anytime you care to have me, roll in on one of these gigs, if I'm available, I'll jump on, even if I can't stay for the whole thing. It's fun. It's great.
Absolutely,
it's great
man.
Stuff. It's great stuff. Yeah. Thank you, Steve and Anthony.
No, not me, Anthony. It's all A-Dog. A-Dog. Yeah, hey. I appreciate it, though, Richard, though. But last but not least, Anthony, what do you have? Well, we know what you have going on, but is there anything else you have going on, sir?
There's always stuff going on. Always a lot, right? And there's always more, of course, going on behind the scenes than there is in public. So I'm always working on major projects in public, and then also, in private. And then eventually those hit public, kind of like videos, right? We film them, we have to edit them in private, on computers and shit. They go to 21 University and then YouTube eventually. So the events are very much like that, and other related projects and business for me. So I'll say this, August 2019 now is going to be one of the busiest months of my life. It's something I'm very excited for and amped up for. I'm feeling stronger than I ever have in my life as a man. I'm about to be 31 in a few weeks here at the end of August. That's coming up too. And I think this month is going to be absolutely life-changing for me, just like July was, in very positive ways. And obviously, we're adding major new speakers to the 21 Convention 2019 of Orlando, Florida, coming this October 24 to 27. Major ones. So those will be coming out. Some of them will come this month. Probably all of them will come out this month. We'll make the announcements. And there's several, more than one, I'll say that. So that's going on. We're also preparing tickets for the 22 Convention and logistics for that. That'll be coming spring 2020. That's for women. You need your girlfriend trained, your wife trained, your cousin, your sister, whatever. You ship her out, send her out to us. We'll take care of her. So that's coming up spring 2020. We're also working on the next Patriarch event, which tickets just went out for privately recently to the attendees. Those aren't public yet, like a pre-order or anything like that. But eventually those are going to be online as well. And we also put together a trailer for the Poland convention next year in Krakow, that city. So we have a lot of stuff going on this month, a lot of editing, a lot of videos. It's just, it's war mode with some fun, a lot of fun mixed in. So fuck yeah. Beyond that, I'm working on, there's an individual specific video, special video I'm working on too. And that'll be coming out pretty soon on 21 Studios, and that will catch everyone's attention. I guarantee it. And that's not related to, it'll be me in the video, and it won't be related to the events or anything like that. It's gonna be a lot more specific, if you catch my drift.
Ooh. All right.
So that's coming out. And honestly, man, there's so much shit going on. I don't even know where to fucking stop. Like, I could just keep going on the list. But there's a lot coming, a lot of videos too, like I said, speeches. Major content will be rolling out this whole month of August and September. Because once October hits, October 1, that's like 3 weeks and a couple days before the event. So we'll get kind of bogged down with that. But before that time, between now and that October 1, we're going to slam 21 Studios and stuff with new videos, like big ass videos that are dope as fuck. So that's coming, it's going down, and we're going to kick some ass with it.
That's what I'm talking about. Well, yeah, just real quick for me, themanmindset.com. Like Anthony, but Anthony, it sounds like you're not a Leo. So, I mean, it's okay. You know, you in August like me, but, you know, everybody can't be a Leo. But anyway, but what I want to say is that, you know what, guys, this is being brought to you by, guys, get your crayons out. The 21 convention going on in Orlando, Florida, October 24th through the 27th. Guys, it is something that you need to be a part of. Get your crayons out. Go ahead and grab these tickets. Register now. The early bird special ends in 1 day, 11 hours, and 19 minutes. Go to the21convention.org or org/America for right now, unless they change it. You can go there right now and start register because, guys, let me tell you, from the moment you get there to the speakers, to the food, to the engagement, it is classy A1. And with that being said, Anthony, I want to thank you. I want to thank Richard. I want to thank Noah. And more importantly, my dog, my road dog, Socrates, want to thank you as well, man. We appreciate all those that are listening to the show now and all those that are going to be listening to this thing later. Anthony, I'm going to let you end this and kick us out, brother.
All right. Thanks for hosting today's show, Steve. And everybody, thanks for watching. It's been a lot of fun with the new tech stuff here. As this goes on, I'll get better at that and the host and stuff, and how to do the new show with the new software. Other than that, Amanda, Steve, it was awesome seeing you again in Poland, man. It was absolute pleasure. My D1, the Dean himself, Richard and Sock, as always. Sock, of course, I see all the time. It's fucking awesome. But being able to hang out with Sock and get him out to Poland like that was really special, and I enjoyed it. And Richard, great seeing you again too, man. Fuck yeah.
I loved it.
That's all I got. I'm going to wind this up here on YouTube, and here we go. Peace, guys.